So, last time we talked about PL during the session and then a Terrorblade during the replay.
Yes.
What's the deal? What's going on?
I have pretty much been Terrorblading exclusively. Um, it's been challenging. I took a vacation kind of just last week. I was gone for like quite a while, and so but my games leading up to that were pretty rough. And then I had thought things were going pretty well. The replay information was very helpful, um, and then uh, and then things were just pretty rough. And then coming back, things were rough, but I've kind of turned things around in the last 24 hours a bit. Um, so I definitely have some questions, but uh, yeah, it's hard. It's hard in games to there's just so many variables that it takes a long time. It feels like to work on changing significant skills, like for instance, you know, microing the illusions to pull camps, or remembering things like pulling more frequently that I was pretty good at, but like now because I'm focusing on other things, I'm not as present to. And I think I definitely have some questions around like when to go certain items, like when to actually buy a BKB versus not. And then I think there's a lot of time when I simply just lose presence of mind as far as you know, not wanting to be in the fight too soon, and maybe using my something I used to do very well on Naga was use my illusions to create vision. In part because I'm setting the camps all the time, but I think I'm less conscious of that with Terrorblade uh, for whatever reason. Just have not created that kind of um, you know muscle memory around. Hey, we're smoked. We're scouting for things. I should send my illusions out front. So
Yeah, illusions aren't nearly as good for providing vision anymore as they used to be, but
yeah,
I know what you mean.
but
Um,
still, it's better than being first contact and then just getting nuked and desperate. It definitely feels like if I show up late to a fight, generally like I just kill everybody, and if I don't, I just get wrecked. Um, and so that's been a challenge.
yeah, Terrorblade's a threshold hero for sure because of Sunder, and then for the early to mid game, most of the time he can't be the one in front, and then later on, maybe with Aegis or maybe later with like a full Scotty or something, he can be. But he's kind of like Morphling in the sense that you have to like be aware of whether or not you get bursted. But rather than
Right.
like on Morphling, deciding whether or not you shift strength or whatever, you're more so just knowing, will I be able to Sunder? And also a lot of the times we don't even want to get gone on and Sunder them. Like that is a win condition sometimes. But a lot of times we want the threat of the Sunder so that if they don't commit on to us right away, they like never want to commit on to us. So uh yeah, there's a little bit of layers to playing Terrorblade. So, I mean, is today's session, are you wanting it to predominantly be on Terrorblade?
Yeah, I mean that's where all my energy's going currently. So
Okay. You have some replays in mind? Do you want to take one of the ones from today or yesterday that went well, or like last 24 hours?
yeah, so this I have a few here that we can go over. This one um, uh, yeah, we had a bad start, and I guess it's not super bad. An okay start. I think I did pretty well versus Sand King, um, but the game overall was rough because people were just kind of jumping into Ursa's open mouth, and I had an offlane Alk who was kind of building and playing as a carry. Um, but I feel like I adjusted and kept lanes pushed and did a lot of the kind of stuff we've been talking about as far as like going through the gates and just I don't think I ever actually created any opportunities like where people TP'd back or anything, but it certainly probably helped with vision and then ensured I was showing up late to these fights and just kind of winning them.
Yeah, did you want me to watch the whole game, or like how much of the game did you want me to watch, basically?
I guess, mostly probably the lane. I guess that's always the, the part where I need the most help. I think the rest of the game went. There's a couple things that I would like, and this game may not be the right one. As far as help, as far as like going high ground, you know, do I just want to siege from low ground with meta? Like with certain heroes, like I don't know, Medusa, I would generally like save my ult until I would kind of like go up, let them use all their crap on me, kill me, sure, fine. Now I'm back alive again. I can ult if I need to, and then just kind of win. With Terrorblade, it's like you have the Sunder, you have the meta, and you have the frenzy. And sometimes it's clear. It's like, oh, I'm just going to frenzy and go up in there and hit the towers until they nuke me, and then if I die, I'll have meta and I can just meta and then win the fight. But then, if similar to Medusa, if you're the last one alive, then you just die, right? And so you don't want to be stuck being the last person alive with Aegis. And so I guess a better conceptual idea of like, when do I meta and hit the tower versus waiting, I guess some high ground approaches that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, and if you have a specific replay with a moment, we can watch it. I'm happy to do that. I can also just speak kind of generally if you'd like. What would you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, generally is fine for the moment, and then
Sure. Generally speaking, the way I look at Terrorblade is that there's twofold. There's like maybe 3 or 4 different aspects of the hero. So number one is that you don't want to be in a position where you meta'd and you just get bursted before Sunder, because even though you have Aegis, you're not like Medusa, of course. You come back without meta, and that feels really awful, and you can't fight anyways.
right.
So generally speaking, I don't want to, like, if I'm afraid of them bursting me, I will like pop meta, and then I will put my hero like right here, and I'll walk my illusions to the high ground, and then I'll put my hero like within range of the illusions, basically. If I'm afraid of getting bursted, that's like what I would do a lot of the time. If I'm not planning on, if I do think we want to fight them, but I don't want to like pop my meta yet, then you can do the same thing with your shard. You just stand right here and the illusions hit the tower. Your illusions do a lot of damage, even though there's like the illusion damage reduction on towers and stuff.
I'm sorry, BSJ, I don't think you're sharing your screen with me.
Oh yeah, I'm a noob.
All good.
My brain's a little bit fried today. Sorry. So I was saying that if I, with Metamorphosis and your shard as well, if I feel like I'm afraid of getting bursted, I'll put the illusions on the high ground right here, and then I'll stand like over here within like the 1200 range to give them the bonus from this, the bonus from meta, and all that. So that's what I do if I'm afraid of getting bursted. If I'm not afraid of getting bursted at all, I'll usually walk onto the high ground. Specifically regarding your teammates, the way I look at Terrorblade is that we are really strong, but if we can be easily jumped behind, is the way I look at it. So a lot of times for Terrorblade, I want you to view your attack range, which with Dragonlance is usually 730. Late game, it's like 830 because you have the attack range neutral. So I view my attack range as like a circle of death. That's how I call it with Terrorblade. So I want my teammates that I'm afraid of getting bursted to be within the circle of death, basically. So if I have a support that's sitting back here, I would stand right here while my illusions hit, for instance, because I want to be ready to turn around and hit the guy that's goes on my support. So those are kind of the facets of Terrorblade that I consider. First, am I going to get bursted? But then secondly, I do need to be a threat to the person that goes on my teammates. So I need to be somewhat close to them. So if they have like a lot of backline jumpers, I'll try to be within attack range of my supports. And if I'm not quite within attack range, like that's what I'm ready to respond to. I do like to ask myself, do I think the opponent will try to focus me, or do I think they'll try to focus my supports? That's kind of a feels thing, but that is something you can usually get a pretty accurate read on after you play more and more Terrorblade. Like, it just takes time for that one. Any thoughts or questions about what I said?
Nope. It's
Okay,
good.
cool. That's all I have for, like, general going high ground on TB for now. Yeah, nice. Sending your illusion at the support. Pretty cool. Okay, Willow went base. Yeah, it looks like you're trying to use the pull. I mean, overall, I think you're conceptually playing the lane pretty well. Yeah, okay. Nice kill. Oh shit, he's doing it. A little late, but he's doing it. Fine. Step one. Hmm. So I guess for TB, it's like if I'm against a heavy magic damage offlaner, I oftentimes will kind of concede the lane to him, and I'll just farm the 2 camps behind my tower and rotate back in. I don't like hate what you're doing. I just don't think it's the most efficient play. If Willow
Okay.
comes back for something like that, and then you push the lane real quick and then go farm, like this is good. Then you're gonna go back. It's mainly like if
Yeah.
Willow's here, it makes sense to do it. If she's not here, I wouldn't do it, basically. Okay. I mean, I think you're doing a lot of pretty good things here. So the next step for you, if you want to be, you know, we're being ultra nerdy, but it's very good, is in this moment where you're like, okay, fuck off, guys. Then you just use the illusions to pull the creeps this way. And you just walk your hero back here. So
Yep.
you're pulling the illusion, the creeps into the tower. You can definitely get your illusion to pull them too.
Right.
Like that's when I know someone's like a really seasoned Terrorblade player when they're like dragging creep waves to them. Because a lot of supports, like, yeah, maybe Lion can hex it, but you also have 2 illusions, and they hate spending spells on your illusions, so it feels really bad. Yeah, so you're getting a lot of pressure on you because of Alk off lane not really applying pressure of his own. I like that you're being sticky to the lane. You like rotating. Like, what you're doing here is exactly what I mentioned earlier, and I think that's really good. You're gonna go for... Okay, I don't mind that. There's a fight mid, so you're pushing bottom until somebody comes back. I like that as well. Yeah, so this is kind of what I was afraid of at like minute 8. Was
Right.
like when I'm against Sand King, I don't really play for this camp.
Right.
That's like, I mean, it took 8 minutes for them to punish you, but when I said like heavy magic damage offlaner, I'm just thinking that usually a +1 kills me is what I'm generally thinking. Like that exactly right there was why I said it. So like I'd rather like concede the lane on average and like pull the creeps to me. Something you can also do if you're gonna play, if you want to play like up here, like over here or over here, you can also. I'm gonna rewind for a second.
Post an illusion.
So like let me. So right here, what you'd actually do is send the illusion like right here to pick up the wave.
Yep.
Same thing. And you can actually just pull your hero. You can actually just go farm over here rather than farming this camp. So a lot of heroes, they're glued to farming this camp because they need to be near the wave. But on Terrorblade, the beauty of these moments where you're like, I need the wave, but I don't really want to lane. Like that's what you're doing. You can just use illusions to drag it to. So that's like, you know, one step where you're at, like it would dodge this gank, right? Like where you're not laning bottom anymore. Where like we don't want to be near the sanking very much. That's basically the idea of the illusions. I mean, they made a nice move, but this is something that I feel like you're kind of a sitting duck for. Like it's generally going to happen eventually. Okay, so you TP top against Ursa. Okay, if I see Ursa at that fight, which I do, I'm going to run forward. Nice, you do. That's good. Yeah, I feel like your farm's mainly a bit low just because of the interactions with the Sand King. I think if you were generally letting him have the lane and then only going back to the wave when it's under tower or when your Dark Willow's there, then I think you would have maximized that a bit better.
Okay.
I think like the fundamentals of what you're doing are great, but I think the main thing is as TB, there's a very fine line between taking these two camps and laning and taking these two camps and scooping it up from tower. If we combine that decision with the illusion dragging of the creep waves, where you're like, I want to be near the wave, but I don't want to be on it. If we get those two things, like, I mean, it's like one thing at a time, of course, but you're already looking to do the pulls. There's just a lot of min-maxing we can do on TB. I think you're doing a lot of good things. It's just I'm seeing like 120 CS at 18 minutes. I think it could be like 135, 140. You know, it's not like some game changer amount. It will help a lot, but you know, I think there's a lot of just little things we're missing. So you're gonna TP. Let's see. You TP'd away from your team here. What was with this TP? So basically what I've tried to tell all my core players is don't TP unless absolutely necessary, especially when you're strong. So I say you're strong because you have your Manta, which is not like the most amazing, but if Sand King's already gone in and stuff, it's like you're good at cleaning up here. And it's not that I want you to fight with your team, but if you TP here and then walk away from your team, you're just out of the game. There's like no there's like no impact you could ever have. And I don't like having that. You're kind of like free rolling the opponent's like free rolling the next 80 seconds, meaning like nothing really bad can happen to them. Because even if they overextend, you're not there anyways. And that feels really bad if you miss those type of opportunities. So I try to point these out to people where you TP to your team or to your own base when you're planning to fight, basically, or when you've already like forced a fight up here. Like, you've already forced a reaction of some sort. But basically what I'm trying to say is you're not allowed to TP to your own buildings if you haven't forced the opponent somewhere else.
Sure.
Does that make sense? So
it does. Yeah. I think generally that's what I'm trying to do. And I think in this case, I was just trying to, like, I'm not looking to fight at all. And I'm just trying to maximize farm. I didn't see that OD was going to the tower. And so I TP to the wave.
What I'm trying to say is you're not at a 1 out of 10 right now. 1 out of 10 means you'll never fight ever. So that means like you're so far fucking behind. You have no abilities. Like you're at like a 2.5 or a 3, which is like an overextension fight happens. They're diving your tier 2 tower. They chase your guy a little bit too far over here, and you might be able to help. Like that's where you're kind of at on the sliding scale. So the only thing that matters to me is that you don't TP somewhere, then walk away from your team when you're not a 1.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
anything other than a 1. So, like, I understand maximizing farm, but I'm basically saying the trade-off is you have to walk your way towards mid, and if you miss a few creeps, that's fine. But, like, I'm super happy with your overall farming pattern. If you just walked here and then did this, where you're like, I don't really want to fight right now, I'm going to farm away from my team, like, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It's just, if this thing that proceeds to happens, we want to be able to punish it if it becomes punishable. So, like, just whatever's happening here, we want the option to punish this, is what I'm trying to say. Like, for all I know, you see Sand King here, OD's respawning, you see these heroes with these HPs, you might go. Like, you might go with OD respawning. I'm not saying you should go, but now there's no decision. Okay. I tell people to try to give themselves the decision. So they're taking Roche now. I like what you're doing if you're not going to fight. You're, like, cutting waves. They got Aegis. You're going to take the bottom tower. You're looking at the fight. TP. I like the TP. Very nice. That was what I needed you to have the option for earlier. That's the only difference, is I just want you to have that option as close to 100% of the time as possible. And whatever you did to remove the option, we just have to look at it and be like, sometimes it's fine, but most of the time it's not, basically. But yeah, that was just generally good. Split pushing, waiting for them to overextend, TP into punish. That's just solid. Solid gameplay. You're going through the Twin Gate and cutting the creeps. This is noticeably better. You're being super obnoxious. And even, like, Manta the next wave. Okay, you're going to use an illusion on it? Oh, you missed it. You missed the next wave. Oh, no. Yeah, definitely here, when you cut the wave like this, definitely go for the next one with the Manta. So I'd summon the Manta right now and have it run over here. It's even more annoying if you cut it in a different spot. Like, you don't move the Manta to right here, right? Because somebody might come and kill your illusions here, but then your illusions are killing the wave over here, too. That's just, like, super fucking annoying. You're doing, like...
nervous about,
what?
Unless I know where they all are, I get real nervous about using the Manta, like, proactively, unless I know they're committed somewhere else, just because it's my escape.
If they have an Orchid hero, sure. I don't think Manta fucking does shit if they find you. Like, honestly. Like, against this lineup?
It can, I mean, you can, confuse a hex or whatever long enough to sunder or to loosen vision and TP away or something like that.
There is no way in fuck you ever TP away from this lineup. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. Sure. They have, like, 9 stuns.
Conceptually.
Yeah. So I totally agree conceptually that Manta works that way. It does not work that way in this particular game. Do you understand that?
I got you.
Okay. So what I've noticed is that every every player I'm coaching, it's a very human thing to do. We arrive at these general conclusions that are accurate like 80% of the time.
Sure.
So I totally agree with your accuracy of that statement in most games. But I think in this game particularly, my Manta does not offer me any amount of survivability at all. Like, in team fights, I just die to Sand King plus Invoker and shit. And I still die to Ursa. Like, the only thing I'm manting is maybe the Grimstroke bug, maybe. Like, that's maybe Cold Snap. But, like, it's still a good item because I'm Terrorblade. But, for me, it's a good item because it lets me extend the map with my illusions, not because it keeps me alive. But if they have, like, an Ember Spirit as their primary way of catching you, then I wouldn't use Manta, right? Like, I would be holding on to it. So... it's just something to think about with what your item exactly does for you in the given game you're in. It sounds like you have a pretty accurate overall average of what this item does for you, which is, it's not wrong. It's just we want to be a little bit more specific with that over time. That's all. But I understand the thought.
I mean, I think, if similar to like PL, if I see there's bad guys coming towards me, I can manta and like send them in two different directions, sort of thing. And
Ah, I see. Yeah.
that's if they're on top of me, then that's a different story. But
Yeah, so like in this particular game, I probably would have considered it a BKB. And the way that you're playing on the map, I feel much better about going BKB because the only hero that kills me
right,
is Ursa.
yes,
So like I can more easily play around the map, basically, with the idea that the BKB is to TP and be obnoxious, like if they do manage to find me. So like I would have considered Manta, Dragonlance, BKB here into Hurricane Pike Scotty, but I also understand like Terrorblade's one of the few carries that can really get away with not going BKB for a really long time against lineups that like every other carry would have to go BKB against. So
yep,
when you asked it earlier, like when do I buy BKB? I want you to think for me that most of the time BKB is it severely limits the amount of heroes on their team that kills me. And just some games that really matters, and some games it doesn't particularly matter. So,
okay,
I think you're on the right track. That Terrorblade is one of those few carries. It's kind of one of the memes where Arteezy used to play Terrorblade and just never buy BKB. It's not that it's good to never buy BKB, but it feels bad on this hero to buy a BKB for sure. But I think in this particular game, I would have been eyeing either after Hurricane Pike or even just after Manta so that I can split push and TP out, basically. I think I would have played very similarly on the map to the way you're playing. And just maybe I'd having a BKB, but honestly, maybe it doesn't even help that much because they have like Sunstrike and shit. So, okay, so.
I mean, the big thing in my mind is, I mean, like it keeps him from getting disabled while you're trying to sunder. It's
Yeah,
like the big.
it makes the fights easier to play is how I would look at it. But okay, so you. Oh, okay, he feeds a little bit there. Nice. That was kind of a. So what's really interesting about this whole ordeal here is if you have BKB, I would want you to run your regular hero this way,
Right.
and illusions this way. Just generally towards the enemy team, not toward, and also not towards your base. I mean, it ends up like working out in your favor, but
Yeah.
I would have rather you ran up with your hero than your illusion. Because now we're in that same spot we were in before where we're like stuck on our side of the map. So you put yourself back out there, but that was a moment where I don't think you needed to put yourself on your side of the map. And you did. In this case, you're like pressuring the illusion or the wave and then TPing back to your team. That's fine. So now we're going to get our way back out on the map. Okay, you're pushing. Yeah, you've been following a pretty good formula here. Like I think the formula you have is pretty solid. I think the little nuances to it that we're talking about, like being careful of putting yourself where you TP away from your team, being careful of walking back to base when you could have walked forwards. Considering BKB, if that means you can walk out onto the map and you otherwise wouldn't feel safe to do it. That's pretty much the main purpose of BKB, I would say. Yeah, this is a point of contact thing for sure. So when we look at the map, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can go in depth about this one, but this is one of those where I see Ursa show mid, and now every second there's an expanding circle. I think we might have talked about this before. I'm not sure. So, like, I'm just thinking, like, the circle's going like this or like this. So I wouldn't feel safe to farm these camps, and I wouldn't feel safe to walk back this way. So I'm kind of thinking like this. Either we're going to fight them on this high ground, or, like, I'm just going to go through the gate after I see Ursa push this and then walk upwards. So we're kind of just, like, following this. They also showed there's, like, 3 heroes. So this is just, it could just be simply a loss of presence of mind here, like you mentioned earlier.
I became inured to the fact that they weren't chasing me when I was out solo on the map, and but now I'm with the team, and so they.
I see. You were in the zone of like being obnoxious, but you were with your team this time.
I was mostly surprised that they weren't coming after me. Like I did this in another game a couple days ago, and it was just like Invoker was just all over me. There was every time I would try to split, he was on top of me. And these guys, and then just never really came after me. So.
Yeah, against a hero like Invoker who's stalking me like that, I would go BKB after Manta for
Right.
sure. But honestly, if you're detecting that they're not coming after you, then I would probably delay BKB myself. But I understand what you're saying, that you're surprised they're not coming after you. That makes sense. I mean, we're 41 minutes into this game. I do think there's a good foundation here. But do you want me to keep going in this game, or do we want to jump into your
No,
second game?
we win this game. This is fine.
Okay,
So that was like that one gank there was kind of like the big, oh shit, all right, I got to recalibrate, and then
I got you.
right after that. So
Okay, let's check out the next one then.
that's that one. So this game, we were kind of winning handily. I guess this one has a like a bad high ground attempt in it. And I guess the helpful thing with this one is that like I think things went really well. We were way ahead. I was very consciously trying to like exercise some of the things that you've been telling me as far as hitting objectives and things like that. And I don't know. I think it gave up what I felt like organic opportunities to hit some buildings that I was like, well, it feels like I should just meta and hit this T2, but like I it feels like I'm not supposed to or whatever, uh, and then we ultimately throw going high ground, get Aegis, try to tell my team like, hey, we're farming, just be cool, etc. And then but then totally botched the high ground attempt, and then things just got really hard.
Yeah, I mean, I never necessarily. I don't love giving you guys like rules that are just like blindly follow. You feel like it doesn't technically apply here, so I get that feeling. For me, it's my main emphasis when I'm communicating that message is that when you are playing the map, and we talked about using your Manta to survive, 90% of the time that's the case, but there
Right.
are games where that doesn't apply. But I would
Absolutely.
rather you be assuming that's the case in that direction than assuming that's the case in the other direction. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So like my goal with that tier 2 thing is that I think you're better off in the short term never hitting a tier 2 before 20 minutes. Like in the
Right.
short term, because I'm trying to make sure that that's the default mode for you.
Yes.
With like there are going to be exceptions, and there might be times where in the short term you are going to miss that opportunity, and that's fine. Like, that's fine that you detect those moments and just be like, okay, it's fine. I just have to operate under this constraint for now, but it'll be lifted once I feel like I now understand how to play the map without hitting tier 2s, basically,
Yeah.
before 20 minutes. That was the idea of that. So
Yep.
over time, it's not that you have to like come get my approval or whatever to start hitting tier 2s again. It's just once you kind of feel like you've reordered that priority, then, feel free to start hitting tier 2s in moments where you think it's like, it is an exception, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, against Visage, I'll generally consider a salve, specifically
Mm.
Visage, because of Grave or whatever it's called, Soul Assumption. I let him like Soul Assumption me twice, and then I salve. That's basically how Visage lanes go, in my experience. Doesn't matter what carry I'm playing.
Yeah.
If he's like not killing us, we feel pretty good. And
Right.
the one thing I would say about your laning phase is that I pretty much always use meta in the first like minute and a half. Like,
That was my other question. Yeah. I think I have a hard time, like, if I don't have like a clear stun, to like where I'm positioned properly, meta, like go for the kill sort of thing. It's just not entirely clear to me when I should use it versus when I should hold it in lane.
So like right now against Visage in this type of lane, I'm literally just going to use meta here and
Yep.
be 85 or 75 damage range, and he's, you know, a 58 damage range guy. So if there's no obvious level 2 timing, like if you have a CM, I'm going to go for a level 2 timing where we both get level 2. I've been reflecting him down a little bit, and then right when CM goes, I'm going to use meta. If there's no obvious time to use meta, I usually just use it at level 1.
Okay.
So oddly enough, in this lane, I would have gone either meta or my W, because both of them just give me extra damage.
Right.
And so against a hero like Visage, I'm not actually looking to trade with him necessarily. I just want to get extra CS. So the whole point of the meta is just get 3 CS and 2 denies that he can't really do anything about.
Right.
So if the range support was a hero that couldn't deal with illusions, like a Mirana or something, I probably would go W. But since it's a Earthshaker, I'd probably go meta, is like how I would look at it. So I think my only critique, like that's just kind of fundamental about your laning phase, is just using that meta and getting it off cooldown and just getting off to an advantage in the lane.
Right.
That way, it's like even just getting 2 or 3 denies is really useful.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not thinking there's like some obvious time to meta, then you're not really having much of an opportunity cost. Like the only risk you run is like you use meta level 1, you have a Crystal Maiden, you have your level 2 power spike, and you don't have meta for it. You know what I'm saying? But if there's no like obvious time to use it, then there's no like punishment. Like if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
because it would just be sitting there off cooldown doing nothing
Yeah.
otherwise. So yeah, no, I got you.
So a lot of times we like think the threat of something is better than the actual something, but on Terrorblade it's just like let's just, if meta is going to get me 3 extra CS and 2 denies, great. You know, that's a use of meta. It doesn't have to be super fancy. So generally against any camp that summons or hits 3 units, like when my illusion dies like this, I will kill the big creep first and then let this illusion tank it and not summon the illusion. Like that's just something to think about. I would summon the illusion after we kill the creep. Nice. I would definitely buy some raindrops earlier on in this lane. I think Visage is a great hero to buy raindrops against. Okay. So I want you to like look at the map right now and see that consistently in your, okay, so right now you don't have a TP, which is a problem. I actually don't know why you don't have a TP. I don't remember like when you used it.
I think to get the lane.
Okay. Yeah, so like in this case I would have wanted you to TP mid with the end of your meta. So you kill this wave, you walk up to the high, like you literally walk up like a raid boss because they have nothing to kill you with right now. No Lion Finger, no Echo Slam or anything like that. And you just walk up to this high ground, clear the next wave at 815, and that's like a ton of pressure on mid wave that either Silencer's gonna need to get help or he's like stuck mid. But like right now, you're not actually applying meaningful pressure, if this makes sense.
Yes.
So this is just a moment where what I'm noticing in your game in the last game was you spent 14 minutes playing top. And in this game, it's also looking to be the same, where it's like 8 minutes of consistently playing top. So I actually don't know how to exactly train this in terms of coaching, but let me think about this. So we're gonna play this out. This was an opportunity to go mid. You know, in
Yep.
this case, it's just the mistake of not having a TP, which I think is a big deal. I think by minute 5, maybe we need to have a TP because that's when lanes
Absolutely.
start going, chaotically,
Yeah,
or
so
there's options basically. Yeah, actually, this is probably your biggest mistake of the game so far, is just not having a TP. So, like, this is like another time where your mid tower is just dying, and you're
right.
not even looking at it, really. You're pretty much always defaulting to your safe lane. That's what it looks like. You're, like, very much in this, like, efficient mode of your safe lane.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it feels like on heroes where I feel like, I mean, it's like if things are going well, it's hard because, and I guess I haven't done the research on like how strong Silencer is, but like in the past, I'll like go mid, and then like the enemy mid's just way stronger than I am, and now I'm like, instead of getting lots of farm top, I'm just getting my ass handed to me mid, and so I
Okay.
think I'm less present to that.
Okay. This is interesting. So, I'm thinking about how I should incorporate this as a coach as a whole. Like, not just for you, but meaning like this is not a discussion I've only had with you. So there's this dilemma we're in where Dota and many other games we play and many other things we do in life there's a lot of pattern recognition, right? Like, it's
Yes.
like, this works. This is the thing that's happening 80% of the time or whatever. So that's like what we start doing. I go mid, and half the time I just fucking die to the guy. So my pattern recognition is, it's probably just statistically better to like not look at mid. Do you see what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so that's like what we're doing. So what happens in these coaching sessions that I need to draw attention to, I think this is just an awareness thing, like, meaning I have to draw attention to the fact that this is the problem, but it's kind of on you with after the session when you're going into your games and just kind of checking in on yourself. How often are you making a decision in the current game you're playing and you can't explain it with heroes that are currently in the game? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of the problem is I don't trust a lot of my own judgments around some of those decisions. I mean, sometimes it's obvious, but a lot of times it isn't. And
I get that.
and so
What would trusting your own judgment look like? Like, why do you think you struggle to trust your judgment?
well, because it's been wrong a lot. I mean, like, you're doing a good thing, and then you're like, oh well, hey, there's a bunch of farm mid. I'll go mid, and maybe that'll be better. And then like, oh no, now I'm dead, or whatever, or oh geez, this sucks. Or a lot of times, what happens, unfortunately, I guess the other factor is like, for instance, uh, there will be a fight top. My mid will rotate top to try to help. Like I will die, and then now he's top, and there's a creep wave mid, so I will TP mid, and then he will walk back mid, because that's his lane, quote unquote, and then now, I have to, so it's like it's things like that where it's like I know this is the right move. I should just go mid and stay mid, but like now he's gonna come back in. Why are you here? This is my lane, and so it's just like inherently inefficient. And that doesn't mean I won't do that, but it's just like you do that enough times, and your trust that like making the quote unquote right move versus the move that you think most likely other people are going to make, just creates inefficiencies.
Yeah, I see. Let me think for a second. Out of curiosity, would you consider yourself a perfectionist?
I mean, no.
Okay.
But the things that I care about, I try to like, get right.
I see. I see. Um. Okay. The problem that I've had coaching you is that you say accurate things, but I also have this feeling, and I want this to, this comes with me feeling like there's rapport here. Like, I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy hearing your perspective. You sometimes say things where I just want to, like, shake your neck and just be like, come on, man. Like, I get it, but, like, fuck. Like, that's how I feel sometimes when I talk to you. And it's meant to be, it's meant to be endearing. It's not meant to be like, you're pissing me off.
Why would you like to strangle me currently?
So, why would you like to strangle me currently? So, basically, so everything you said makes sense. I want to clarify. I just want to reiterate that. But when I talk about a decision not being about what's happening in the current game, this is like me. What's a good example? Let me think of an example here. That maybe is too real. Let me think for a second. Like, too personal.
Well, I will say that you asked a general question, and I gave a general answer.
Yeah. No. I mean,
I'm not saying I consciously didn't go mid in this game because of XYZ. Like, in this game, like, things were going well for me here, and so I stayed here. You know.
Yeah. The thing is like, I don't even see you, like, looking at mid.
Absolutely.
So, like, the problem that it happens here is that, okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit personal. So, like, if I have a family member or like a close person in my life where every time I say my opinion, they tell me why my opinion is wrong. Okay? Like, that's what happens every time I do it. I'm sure people have had people like this in their life, at least somebody in chat watching. So if I have somebody in my life, one person close to me, who every time I say my opinion, they tell me why I'm wrong. What's that conditioning me to do? It's conditioning me to never tell people my opinion.
Sure.
And what happens is I don't just not tell people my opinion when that person's around. I stop telling anybody my opinion.
Right.
Right? And that's the problem, is when that person's interactions with me are specifically shaping the way that I talk to literally everybody. Right? And so what I'm trying to show you is you've clearly, and I think all of us can relate to this, you've clearly had negative experiences with teammates, whether that's them getting upset with you or whether they're just coming back to your lane and you don't know what to do now. All forms of that. And then you've also had negative experiences going mid in general. But what that's proceeding to do is you're just not even trying anymore.
Yes.
Which is, that's where it's like, well, now if I take it to the real life example and I just no longer share my opinion with anybody, my life's just kind of worse. Because I'm not giving myself a chance to maybe share my opinion with somebody who has some really interesting insight back towards my opinion, and maybe I learn something. And it's like, what happens is when you go mid, there are gonna, like, it's literally the meme of the pink square with, going outside of their bubble and then getting hit, like something bad happens and they're like, nope, back in my square. Do you know that meme?
I don't, but I know you kids and your memes and how you like them. I will say that, like, you asked me why, and I told you why. If you tell me, dude, you're not looking at mid enough, and I want you to be looking for mid as an option, then I will do that, and that's fine.
Okay.
Like, I'm happy to do that. But you asked me why, and so I was trying to explain why.
Well, for me personally, and I understand that, I always want to try to help people in terms of coaching them the way that I think is most helpful. I personally don't think telling you to look mid solves the problem.
Okay.
Like, I personally think the problem, if I'm being honest, and maybe this is a bad way to coach, but I think the problem is that we need to draw awareness to how often you're doing this.
Yep.
When it's your manta, when it's going mid. Like, these times where you don't make the decision anymore because there's some pattern you've established. Dota's like it's too dynamic to, like, have patterns that prevent us from making decisions. So what I've learned for myself that I had to, like, rewire is every time I make a pattern, I have to be aware of why that pattern is there in the first place. Like, why is this pattern a thing? Oh, because Manta usually offers me survivability. But if I'm now not thinking, how does Manta offer me survivability in this game? then I'm hurting myself.
Right.
So I'm seeing a theme, and like obviously I wouldn't feel comfortable saying this to you after one coaching session, but I've seen like a theme across things where you're not giving yourself the choice. Like, I don't want to fight at all, so I'm just going to TP here. But it's like, what about just giving yourself the chance to fight? But then what happens with that is maybe you TP to a fight you're not supposed to go to. And then you feel bad that you even considered going to the fight in the first place.
Sure.
Right? Like, that's a choice that's going to hurt you potentially. And there's times where we just try to make sure we don't have a choice. And so I agree, you should be looking more at mid, and you need to be considering going there at any time ever. Like, that's really important in every single game. But what I think would solve your problem is when you tell me something, like, why am I doing this? Like, I ask you, why are you doing this? The answer needs to be in the game I'm looking at. My mid laner raged at me for TPing mid in this game. The guy I'm seeing in the enemy mid lane is really strong against TB. I tried TPing into that hero one time and he just killed me.
Right.
But when the answer is something that's happened in the past, that's it's just not helping you. It's not, and I can't help you like past that. Is what I'm trying to say. And so I think you've actually got really good problem solving skills. Like, you're really analytical. And so I think you're crippling yourself because you're not allowing yourself to use those skills in the game. Do you see what I mean? So for me, I think, like, if we can unlock that a little bit, I don't think I need to teach you how to better problem solve. We just need to teach the connection between the present and what's happened negatively in the past, I think, is what needs to happen. So yeah, look towards mid more. I would just say that, you know, I even think just having somebody else, if you have somebody in the dojo or another Dota player that would just occasionally watch one of your games and ask you, why are you doing what you're doing? And then just checking if your answer is in the game.
Right.
I think that would be a very impactful thing, to do. But I don't want to beat this like a dead horse. That's my most recommendation, because you have so many things you're doing right, and you're often making really good decisions in the moment when you have the decision. It's just whether or not you TP'd away so you don't have the decision, or whether or not you're not considering the decision anymore is when you're missing opportunities. And I think there's a lot of missed opportunities there. And it's really hard to quantify them, though. Does all of that, like, what is your takeaway from everything I've said? If anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think something that I don't do enough of, because I like playing, is you know, stopping and, you know, and going back and analyzing my games. And I think that's a great question. You know, so much of playing the game is having muscle memories, having patterns, is having little, you know, heuristics of, um, I need, you know, I'm doing this risky thing, so I need to plan out what my escape is, you know, and that came after thousands of games of not planning out my escape, right? And so I definitely need to go back and, you know, think about these things more and stop playing in generalities. I think that's fair criticism and a good suggestion.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway. I think your generalities are generally accurate. It's just, you know, now we just need to make sure that in general we're not operating like, if you operate under assumptions, you basically just end up capped. That's been like my experience, because you're not expanding, you're not taking the risks necessary to fuck up and die and have bad things go on. And I do notice just a little bit too safe a play coming from you, and I think that this is why. I think carry play can be a slippery slope sometimes, where we become very risk averse with the way that we play.
Yep.
That was a big problem of mine, actually, when I was playing competitively. I became, like, I think for different reasons, but I became, like, paralyzed when it came to the idea of potentially fucking up, that I just played hyper safe.
Right.
And yeah, part of being carry is, like, being calculated while also not being afraid to be a Duraccio. Like, you know, just a guy that randomly jumps in and dies with no buyback at 40 minutes in the game or something. But it does feel awful when it happens, though. Okay, let's see. So I like what I'm seeing here. You pushed out top consistently. You joined up with your team. You've got your Manta. Metamorphosis is up. You're going to take there. So in these moments, I think the most important thing is that you send illusions to cut the wave over here. Okay, you're sending them there. I think it's even better if they should cut the wave here.
Yep.
You should cut them as soon as possible. So it'd be the wave here. If it's not there, then it's right here. But you're sending your illusions like this way. So it's just late. And your hero doesn't need to be here. So like in this case, your illusions cut this wave, and then we just loop back across the map is what I would be doing right now. So like...
So it's like right there was like the, I was like, oh yeah, we can take this tower. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to. We should not. This is like in the moment. It was like, oh shit, this is what we're not supposed to be doing, kind of thing. Just trying to learn how to apply that, concept. I mean, I understand more generally, but in this case, it felt like, oh wait, there's something else I should be doing, and then it wasn't clear to me what that thing was.
It stems from this moment. You're supposed to cut the wave right here at 1805, and then you're supposed to go like this, like just across the map. And probably, like, take Roche, secure this area, push this in. Like, what happens here is you're now grouped as 5, waiting for this creep wave to get here.
Yes.
And so that is all solved by just cutting the wave here and leaving. Right. If this wave was right here, and you cut this, then it's very well possible that you would want to take the tier 2 tower. Okay? But the reason it's wrong is because the lade's all the way back here. So in the meantime, we are literally grouped as 5 up by AK, waiting for a wave for 30 seconds. And Visage just shouldn't be here. Like, that's kind of the thing there. Like, yeah, he dies to a great. But the way I look at this situation, that's the problem is we're up by 9k, this lane's pushing out, this lane's at our tier 1 tower. But if we had cut the wave at 1805 right here and then just gone like this, we would have this lane pushed in, this lane pushed in, this lane pushed to here, and we're like roshing for free.
Yep.
Like, so
instead I TP away because I see the double wave at the tower, and
it's this awkward moment where I see how you're conflicted, so I'm now seeing that it's actually about setting yourself up to see that that's going to happen in the first place.
Yes.
So if you find yourself in the moment where you're like, I guess I hit a tier 2 now, I think the main focus is rewind it like a minute.
Right.
Rewind the replay like a minute and be like, where could I have like cut a wave, especially as TB? Like, where could I have like cut a wave and just not been in this scenario, basically? Yep. But if you're in the scenario, like, I'm actually glad that you were so hesitant and you left. I honestly think that's a step in the right direction, and in the short term, it's going to hurt you because you are filled with indecision. In the moment that you put yourself in, it is technically better to just stay there and finish the tower.
Yeah.
But I honestly think by staying there and finishing the tower, you're like conditioning yourself to do it again. And by detecting this is really fucking awkward, BSJ told me not to do this, what do I do now? We're drawing a lot of attention to something, which is good because, for me, now the feedback is it's actually the thing that happened a minute before. With cutting creeps, because I can see how once you're in that scenario, yes, it makes sense that you thought it's the best thing to do to hit the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, it felt very organic. But...
Yes, it did. Yeah, in the moment that the way it played out, that makes sense. Yes. That was a little bit too. Fast forward here. Okay, so. Yeah, I would definitely go Scotty over Butterfly here against like Lion Shaker.
Yeah.
Just a lot of magic damage.
Yeah, I've going much more. Scotty's more like I need a reason to not go Scotty now. I would say over the last like 5 or 6 games that I've played.
Yeah, I mean Butterfly, I would go if the offlaner's like Lycan.
Haven't seen a Lycan in a long time.
Yeah, it's like a Lycan, and their 4 position is like light on damage. It's like Lycan Tusk. Like, okay, sure. It's not because Tusk is a light damage hero, but he's also like a right-click based damage dealer. So like that's when I would go butterfly on TB.
Yeah, at the time I was thinking, well, Jug, Visage, and then I figured that they and Silencer would probably be my problems, but
Yeah, I
I
mean,
guess,
in general, I know
I
Silencer
guess
does
I would
fit
have
this.
lost, but
Yeah, generally Silencer fits this description too, but we only really want to buy Butterfly when like evading the heroes that do like non-physical damage. Like
right.
I wouldn't buy it against Jug or Visage. But it's like heroes that heroes like even like Ursa, he's physical damage, but like his attacks represent more than just a flat number. Like you have 39 armor. It's like
Right.
you have so much fucking armor. Usually we don't care about right clickers in general as TB.
Right.
There's a select handful of right clickers that we should be afraid of.
Yeah.
It's like OD, but even then he kills us by. I really like that you TB'd away here, but it's like stuff like OD. But even then we would want Scotty against OD because he like one shots us with his ult. Yeah, there's just very few games I would want Butterfly over Scotty, I think.
Yeah.
Also, Scotty's just been buffed so much over time. I wouldn't be walking this way. Okay, now that I see bottom, I would. Okay. I really like that you TP'd away from your team. Sadly, they did linger around bottom, but this is still good.
I'm yelling
Now,
at
we need to go back through the gate rather than walking backwards. Another example of this. This is another moment, right? Where we're walking back towards our base.
Sure.
I would see them go towards mid like this. I'd see this occurring, and I go through gate.
Got it.
Same thing there. And you're actually probably killing Jug right now. He dies anyways, but... Okay. So, Roche is definitely a relevant objective that I'd be trying to play around. You're now... Okay, you were like a little bit off with that, meaning like you're slow, but you had the right idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I've been, asking my team to come top to do.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of just...
Okay, so what we're supposed to do now is we're supposed to go through the Twin Gate and summon illusions to top and clear that wave and get that out. Absolutely essential. This TP is not good because we want to go through the Twin Gate to do this.
Yep.
You conceptually right idea, but Twin Gate rather than TPing.
Got it.
So what's happening here is when you leave lanes, you're not leaving illusions behind. Like, you put illusions here, but then the wave doesn't die. So we need to put another illusion.
Okay.
So every time you're leaving these waves behind. So I want you to think that when you're here and you control this area as TB, rather than like wrapping around and controlling this, you're a hero that leaves an illusion like this and then just goes like this.
Yep.
On the map. That applies at 18 minutes. That applies at 36 minutes. That's like a very TB illusion-centric thing where just put an illusion back and leave the other direction. And, you did...
Like have illusion stationary or send it down the
lane? Basically, you sent illusions down the lane. That's really essential that you get that wave cleared. And that if they continue to push out top, it's because they stayed there. Like, their heroes stayed there. So we need to give them another obstacle back here, basically.
Oh, right. Okay, so you're saying stagger illusions.
Yeah, if they're going to kill the first one, stagger the next one, yeah. Basically, make it so they have to fight past another illusion to get out of here. Think about it that way. Don't make it easy for them to, like, walk down the lane as Jug, and, like, Visage is now just clearing the wave. Like, this wave should be, like, Visage should be battling a 3k HP illusion up here. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. No, I got you. That's great. Great idea.
Yeah. And then what happens is he sees this fight going on. He's like, fuck, I can't deal with this illusion right now. And he just leaves it.
Right.
That's what he thinks during that. Yeah, so you're against Lion and you're getting drained.
Yeah.
I mean, just stop going MKB. I said it in the last session. Oh,
No,
there's a jug. There's a jug. Never mind, my bad.
Yeah, no, all good. No, I got drained and like
all good. I was like, wait a minute, what is this fucking inventory? What am I seeing? I was busy coaching and other things. Yeah, so
just backed out right there and then waited for SK,
Yeah, that was just a lack of. I mean, I can like rewind all this through. It's like, what was the moment that we were supposed to stop? There were probably 4 or 5 of them, to be honest. So like, Sand King's dead for 70. Fantastic. We're gonna plop side or some words. I don't even mind poking at high ground here, but this is to force. What is the purpose of hitting high ground here?
Right. Yeah.
I'm asking you. There is one.
I mean, what should it be, or what was our reasoning?
What should it be?
Should it be? I don't remember if they have a glyph available or not. It's either to force the buybacks or force the glyph, or both, and then get the fuck out. That's usually what I'm doing.
Okay, so the biggest deal is, my question is, say you don't go high ground. What's wrong with walking all the way to here and just getting all 3 lanes in?
I mean, nothing other than, the Aegis timer, but, nothing.
There's absolutely something wrong with this, because now, by the time you've gotten here, the opponent walks out here. So what is our goal? Our goal is to get them all in their fucking base.
Right.
So when we walk high ground without, like, our full lineup, we are doing it to get them to be here.
Right.
That is the reason. If you want to force, like, a buyback and a glyph, that's nice too. But the second that guy buys back and you see all of them here, it's over.
Right.
Because that is the purpose of going high ground, because we want to get all 3 lanes in, and sometimes to get all 3 lanes in, the first thing we need to do is force them to come back.
Sure.
So when I said, what should it be? It should be to make them be here.
Yep.
And so if you were pushing this and Jug was still here, keep going. Him TPing is your signal to get the fuck out of here.
Got it.
So that's how I look at these situations. You're done now. This was the moment. Just leave.
Yep.
So what happened was, we knew if we were on the right track there, we knew everything we do here, which is fine what you're doing, where you're like hitting them and stuff. You're trying to protect your shaman and all that. It's like everything you do here is to get yourself out, right? So you, like, up until this point, it's fine. Now leave. That was the moment where we knew we were going to leave, and then that was the moment we were supposed to leave.
Right.
So there was actually only one moment to leave, but that's why it's so important to know why we're doing something. Because you are correct to go high ground there. But if you don't know why, then you don't know why you stop either.
Right.
Which, that's why it's so important. So that was a good high ground. I actually like that a lot. Force the buyback, force a glyph. But I want you to assume that 99% of your high ground attempts are 2-pronged things.
Right.
The first thing you're doing is forcing something from the opponent.
Yes.
That's a glyph, that's a TP back, that's a buyback. And most of the time when you force that thing, you're just back. Most of the time. Very rarely is it correct to just ram our face out the high ground. Sometimes it's correct, but very rarely. So I'm going to put in the notes real quick. I think this is important. So high ground is a 2-step move. First time is to force either glyph, buybacks, or somebody like the carry most of the time, to TP back to base.
Right.
Usually when those happen, you back. Like, you could assume for the short term that every time that happens, you can just say, call. You can just literally make the call, hey guys, let's back. If they chase us, fight. Like, that call's correct like 90% of the time. So like, call of, hey guys, let's back. If they chase, we can fight. Correct 90% of the time. So the other thing, I mentioned, I just mentioned, how often are you making choices that are not based on the current game. That's more of a theoretical question or awareness question there. But then I think the simple thing, not the simple things, but like literally game mechanics that we just need to do for that is looking to farm other lanes in the first 15 minutes. That's one of them. Survivability of an item on the map like Manta. And then the other part that we discussed is that as TB, whenever you walk away from a lane, send enough illusions, like it's not just a certain amount, send enough illusions to, make them stay there and deal with them, basically. You're in the habit of like sending 1 or 2 by default, but now I want you to think players are going to be dealing with the 1 or 2 illusions. Sometimes I need 3. Sometimes I only need 1. How many illusions is it? That's like where we're at there. I definitely think a BKB is probably needed for you in this game. I probably would have bought Scotty instead of Butterfly. Probably Scotty, Daedalus, BKB, and then Swiftblink would be my last item, probably. Dropping the... So I buy Swiftblink because I want to jump whoever jumps our guys, basically. Like Earthshaker Blink Echoes, I then blink onto him and kill him, basically. That's like the idea. Oh yeah, that sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was being sneaky there, but
What happened here? I was busy talking about other things. So the later on in the game you go, you kind of just need to be with your team.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like for me, I'm like rewinding this and I look back and I'm like, okay, you guys have everything. Visage is dead. So I need there to be a connection between you and your teammates ASAP. Like however long it takes for you guys to connect here when your Pugna respawns. Like that's all I care about here. So like you're like, okay, your Pugna respawns, he's gonna like walk out of base. I'm literally like, okay, guys, let's group up and go again. So I'm just going to send illusions down this wave, and I'm walking towards my team, or I'm just TPing to my team. Either one. But if your movement is not putting you towards your team, then I just don't like it.
Got it.
That's how I look at this situation.
Okay.
Because they're naturally trying to connect to you. We want to make it faster. It's like a carry problem because the way that we're supposed to play the game for the first 25 minutes is not being near our team. And then there's no like hard cutoff of when we're supposed to play with our team, but at some point in the game around 40, we're never away from our team pretty much.
Yep.
Unless like a fight just happened and we need to clear waves for like 15 seconds or something. Let's see this here. Okay, you're with your team. Fantastic. You use illusions on 2 waves at once. That's great, too. You got the kill on Silencer. You need to cut mid with an illusion. No. Cut mid with an illusion. Okay.
Well, yeah, my Sand King's marching down.
It doesn't matter. Cut the wave with the illusion.
Right.
You're right here. Just illusion.
Sure.
I mean, if anything, you can actually be here, and you can literally run to right here, summon illusion, and cut this wave.
Right.
And then cut mid with your hero. But now Sand King's going to take longer to get to, which is just a thing. Okay. I would meta here. I would just meta and hit. Yeah. No shard. No point in like surviving like this, basically. Yeah. So in this high ground push, you definitely needed a BKB, and you definitely just pop meta here. So I would communicate to my team, be careful of Shaker. Be careful of Shaker. I'm pressing meta. That's what I say here. And if they die to Shaker, it is what it is.
Yep. Well, and then I'm the only one with buyback, and we just lose. As I recall.
Yeah, so the problem that happened here, actually, as well as everything else, is that you guys take a lane of racks, and look at what's happening top, right? So, like, what's happening top here means that you guys are on a timer, and this is going to get real awkward real fast.
Yep.
Why are you on a timer? because we didn't walk towards top and cut the wave. It's just these rewinding moments that we need to see, because if you cut that wave, then you fortify the tier 2, that wave up top dies, and then Shaman never TP's back, and then maybe Earthshaker gets hexed when he blinks in, and all of this goes better. So I want to show you that it's a lot of times actually what's leading up to your pushes.
Oh, yeah, no.
Rather than the push itself.
Yep.
And I want you to also know that in the moments where you take a lane of racks, if you see this on the map like this, 90% of the time, just go fix it. Just fix this. Just say, hey team, let's back, like split, like Visage is top, and you still have 4 minutes on your Aegis. So either set yourself up with top lane cut and the other 2 lanes in, or go fix the lane and just say, like, I literally draw a line like this down the map, like, hey guys, I'm gonna TP top and clear this, and we'll go when, like, you know, we'll go in just a sec.
Gotcha.
That's what I would say here. But basically, this fight goes mostly wrong. I guarantee you, your teammates feel more rushed to hit this Rax. I guarantee it. Like, they feel like they need to kill this Rax because of this.
Oh, yeah. No, they were, right, well, because of that, and just in general. I mean, they were pretty mad at me about the pace of the game in general. Like, they thought I was taking too long to do everything, so...
like, what exactly did they say?
Oh, like, well, I mean, like, again, like, in my rank, you know, like, the most cutting insults you can target at somebody is that they're, quote, farming with Aegis. You know, like, that is like, you know, the most obvious. You have Aegis and you're farming, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you know, like, hands down, that's just a blanket rule. So getting people to chill, you know, under those circumstances, like, it's hard enough even to, like, get people to back. Like, it has been helpful to give them an objective, like, hey, as soon as they buy back, we are getting back to high ground, like, to the triangle, you know, and, you know, or something like that. That has been helpful, but even then, it's really hard. It's like trying to get people to not just charge high ground. We have Aegis, charge high ground with everything we have, you know, or, like, you know, hey, I'm going to step up and they're going to go on me, and that's fine. You do not have to all in. Wait for them to go on. You know, it's very difficult to get people to do those kinds of things. They just see, oh, fight starting, and everybody wants to jump in. And so it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, like, for me, I know the problem here is that we all group up for Earthshaker, right? So if I see this...
Yes, right.
Like, I see this whole situation, I'm just gonna pop meta so that we don't group. Like, that's why I'm popping meta.
Right.
So, like, if my teammates want to group on me, I'm literally going to move. Like, okay, I'll walk over here, fine. Like, if you want to stand next to me, Pugna, I'm walking over here, fine. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you understand what you want from them, it's much more impactful to learn how to adjust to what they're doing than it is to try to get them to do what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
So, like, what I'm saying is that if your Shaman TP's back and deals with Visage, you need to adjust to that, which is to not push.
Right.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is I totally get the frustration, and I totally get the common, you know, insult of farming with Aegis and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of agency that we have in this situation, and it's just important that we identify it, because there is, like, at the end of the day, 80% of this you can't control because you have 4 teammates. So we just need to talk about what you can control, and I get that the like negative conditioning of your teammates saying the things that they do, and, you know, feeling rushed and trying to panic and hit this Rax. It's just, if we're not the guy panicking, we're the one winning games, is like how I tend to look at it. So, but I'm glad that the other communication has been helping. I guess I would just reiterate again that as long as you know why you're doing what you're doing, and you're communicating what you're going to do as often as you think it affects your teammates, it can be exhausting, but the more often you're doing that, the better things will be.
Yeah, no, I see that.
In general. So it's not a matter of just do that, but if you can identify one time you commonly, like, if you're, like you said, you're farming with Aegis, if you say, like, hey guys, like, I'm going to TP top, let's go triangle after this, like, and that's giving them an objective, and you're finding that that's really helping, you know, even just having that one thing can be meaningful, and then once that's kind of like second nature, you can move on to the next thing. Is like how I kind of is look at this. I don't want it to be like overwhelming. That we always have to say everything to our teammates. Like I get it. I get exhausted communicating to my team too. And like today I had a game where I just felt like everything was all over the place. But there were definitely times where if I knew my own hero better, because I hadn't played Carry Tiny this patch yet, I would have commanded that game a bit better. And it would have resulted in most likely my team doing less stuff on the map because they were just kind of dying randomly. So I get that. But yeah, so I feel like overall, for the tower pushes thing, whether it's tier 2s and high ground, let's just focus on how often you're not preemptively cutting waves, because this is like 25, 30 minutes plus, and you're sitting on this side of the map. I want you always cutting waves right here.
Right.
And like right here. So if you're over here, like get to here and cut it here. If you're here, like cut it here and walk this way. You're basically like sending an illusion to the area you don't want to go. Like that's how I think about it. So if you're down here and you want to go high ground here, then you're going to send an illusion over here. If you're up here and you want to like farm across the map, which is a great move almost all the time, then we would send an illusion here. And that was at like 18 minutes. So it can start pretty early because you guys were up by like 8K. So basically the second you have like a sizable lead and a Manta, you can do this pretty much. So that would be my main, I'm just going to say like looking to cut creep waves right outside of base, of enemy base, past like 20 minutes. I do notice progress with stuff like you still sometimes walk back towards your team and back towards base, but you're doing it less. You were using Twin Gate some in this, which is great. I am noticing like you are being more annoying on the map, and you gave yourself the choice to show up to fights, especially in that previous game. I liked that you hesitated to push that tier 2, and I think it created a good discussion for us in this coaching session. And I hope it's more meaningful to see, like, okay, it's actually what's leading up to the tier 2 that's the problem, not the tier 2 itself. And yeah, that's my main takeaways from today's sessions. Do you have any, like, final thoughts or questions?
That's great.
What's up?
Oh, I said, no, that was great. Thank you.
Sweet. Awesome, man. I'll let you go there then. Peace.
Have a good day.